All right, let's talk about all the myths out there, the misinformation, the outright lies, the falsehoods, the false news, and all the rest of it about Social Security and Medicare. So I'm going to go through the top 10. It's not the end of the year, but I think we've had enough for this year for all the misinformation about Social Security, and there's usually ulterior motives for that misinformation. I'll talk about some of that, but we'll go through the top 10. Some of these are given by politicians, people in the media, rich people, billionaires, you know who I'm talking about here, and us, unfortunately. So let's go through the entire list and try to break through some of this misinformation because it all has a negative effect on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and the American people that actually need these benefits. And this is also a live Q&A as well. If you've got any questions, make sure you type them in the live chat. If you're watching this later, make sure you join my live Q&A if you or your family or friends ever have any questions. Okay, let's go down the list. Number 10 is by cutting Social Security, that will help the budget. That is 100% incorrect. Social Security is a completely different pot of money that's paid for by FICA. And there is actually a trust fund, which we'll talk about, is one of the other myths. There is a trust fund right now. It's about $2.5 trillion. And that is a completely separate trust fund. The overall federal deficit is about what, 37 trillion dollars. And people say, well, in order to address that deficit, America's in such debt, and every year the debt gets higher to higher. And what we need to do is cut back people's Social Security and raise the retirement age, and that will solve. No, it's completely different budget. It's like saying, okay, your house, you're in debt. Let's go to the neighbor and let's look at that person's finances. Well, that's not your house. Completely separate, but politicians, and I've seen a lot of people in the media do the same thing where they're trying to say, hey, we just need to cut back Social Security to cut the debt. Social Security has nothing to do with the overall debt. Okay. Number 2 is one of the ones that a lot of us people, not anybody on our community here because we know better, that everyone is denied for disability the first time. And we need to stop this lie, myth, misinformation, because what happens is people that are already having a hard time financially, physically, mentally, and they really need to file for disability benefits, and then they hear their friend or neighbor say, well, you're just denied the first time anyway. That just, it really demotivates people, and they're less inclined to go ahead and file for those benefits. So a lot of people in our regular community were approved the first time. I've taken hundreds of thousands of disability claims, and I can tell you 100% for sure, they're not all denied the first time. You got people that are approved the same day, the next day, within a week, 6 weeks. Unfortunately, someone talks about this in the live Q&A. Let me throw this up. Just filed for disability. So someone just filed for disability, received a notice that the average nationwide decision takes about 200 plus days, and California average is 2,000. Yeah, this is the second time I've heard of the California one. When I was taking disability claims at that time, and everybody in the country, we used to tell people, okay, you'll get an answer within 3 to 6 months, which was still too long, but 3 to 6 months is okay. Now, people at Social Security, the employees are telling people 6 to 9 months, and in some states, it's completely different, longer. One of the reasons is when you file for disability benefits, you file at your local Social Security office, but then they send it to a state agency. It's a state agency. It's called the Disability Determination Services. They're the ones that actually make the decision, and they're a state agency. So this is the second or third time I've heard about this state difference. When we used to have that issue, we had this workload mobility. Like in my state, they were behind sometimes, and so they would look out throughout the country and see other states that had a little bit more capacity. And so every now and then we used to send cases from our state to another state. It was actually Texas, Houston, the DDS in Houston. And so move cases across the country wherever there was, quicker response times. I'm wondering, I think we should keep an eye on this because, during the shutdown and everything, Russ Vogt, who's in charge of the Office of Management and Budget, a Project 2025 guy, he's saying, and the president's saying that they're going to make blue states pay. So again, Social Security is a federal budget, so they can't really manipulate it there in that respect. But DDS, the people that make the disability decisions, are state agencies. So I wonder if they're holding back funding for California because it's a blue state, and that's why it's so long. Because this is the second time I've heard it coming from California. So we really need to keep an eye on that. So if you're in California filing for disability, please let us know. We need to keep an eye on that. Okay. So that's number 9. Number 8, Medicare covers everything and is free. Yeah, Medicare should cover everything, and it should be, well, nothing's free. We pay FICA taxes over decades and decades and decades. Part of it goes to Social Security, the other part goes to Medicare. And then when you reach 65 years old or get on disability, it should be free, and it should cover everything, vision, dental, hearing, everything. It took us decades to add prescription drugs into Medicare, but that is a falsehood as of right now. Medicare does not cover everything. Original Medicare, you've got Part A covers the hospitals, Part B covers the doctors, and unfortunately it has these 6 gaps here. So it's definitely not free. You're paying $185 a month for Part B. And there's deductibles and co-insurance and all the rest of it. And people always say, hey, I paid decades into it. Why do I have to pay again? I agree. But as of right now, it is definitely not free. It's actually illegal. If you ever have a Medicare insurance agent say, oh, Part B is free, or a Medicare Advantage plan is free, that's illegal. They can't say Medicare Advantage is free. It might be 0 premium, and you're saying, Ed, 0 equals free. Well, it's only the 0 premium. Then you've got all the other costs. You've got a night in a hospital, CT scans, MRI scans, X-ray specialists, and stuff like that. So it might be free, and it might be 0. See, I'm careful there. It might be 0 on a monthly basis in terms of the premium, but you've already paid into it by paying taxes, and you're going to pay it when you actually use it. So it is not free. Okay, number 7, Social Security is going bankrupt. The trust fund was stolen. It's full of fake IOUs. Okay, I'll put all those together. No, Social Security is not going bankrupt. Okay, this is a fine line people often miss. Social Security will be around here for hundreds more years if we don't privatize it. It'll be here just as it's been here since 1935, as long as there's workers paying into FICA. As long as we have money coming in on a monthly, yearly basis, which we do right now, total income of 2024 is $1.2 trillion. So as long as that money is coming in, Social Security will still be here paying out benefits to those retired, surviving spouses, disabled, whatever the case may be. So as long as people are working and not completely replaced by AI and robots, and paying taxes, then Social Security will still be here. The issue is the trust fund. See, the net reserves is $2.5 trillion. If you are receiving Social Security benefits right now, you are receiving the trust fund. People say it's all fake IOUs. If you think the trust fund is fake IOUs, then please take that 10% or so. This year it's about 10%. Take 10% of your Social Security check and please give it to a local shelter, homeless shelter, animal shelter, something like that. Because if you don't think that's real money, they will think that's real money and they will appreciate it. So it's not fake IOUs. The problem is just with any savings, it's going to run out. And right now it's projected to run out in 88 more checks. So you have 88 more checks at the full benefit amount. And then we're all going to get a cut of 23% because just like any savings, you start taking money out of that savings every year, it eventually is going to decrease. It's going to become empty. And that's exactly what happens in 88 more checks because my regular viewers know 40 years, these guys haven't done anything and we haven't forced them to do anything. So anyway, all right. Number 6, Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. No. A Ponzi scheme is something where you don't know where the money's going, and I just showed you exactly where the money's going. This is the Social Security Trustees report comes out with a report every single year saying exactly where the money is, how much money is there, where it is, where it came from, and everything. So this is just a table in the Social Security Trustees report. So a Ponzi scheme doesn't provide that. And a Ponzi scheme eventually runs out of money. Social Security, as I mentioned, is going to be around here for hundreds and hundreds of years. If we don't privatize it, give it over to Wall Street. But the problem is you're not going to get 100% of your benefit unless we do something to fix it. The money will still go out. It's going to be 23% less as of right now. So a Ponzi scheme eventually runs out of money. This one, as long as people are working, will always have money. And a Ponzi scheme is always secretive. They don't tell you where the money came from, where it went, and all the rest of it. Social Security, if you think it's a Ponzi scheme, then, read the Social Security Trustees report. Okay, what's next here? So it's not a Ponzi scheme. Billions in fraud, waste, and abuse. Is there fraud, waste, and abuse of Social Security? Of course there is. Is there fraud, waste, and abuse in Medicare, Medicaid, and all the rest of it? Yes. But politicians use those 5 words as magic dust that convinces everybody that they can do whatever they want. The 5 words are fraud, waste, abuse, illegal aliens. As long as they use any one of those 5 words, then we let politicians do whatever they want. So they keep saying Social Security is full of fraud, waste, and abuse. And no, Social Security is really, really efficient. Does it have fraud, waste, and abuse? Yes. Less than 1% in incorrect payments. And I talk about, if you're a regular viewer, some of the incorrect payments people do voluntarily. People say, how would anybody get paid voluntarily incorrectly? Well, they work and earn too much. And rather than calling Social Security and tell them to suspend the benefits, they say, well, I'll just wait for the overpayment, and I'll pay the overpayments because it's only going to be, $300, $400, $500, $600 or something. So people voluntarily get overpaid or underpaid all the time. But there is, yes, fraud, waste, and abuse, obviously. But it is a very, very, very small amount. And I think fraud, waste, and abuse in terms of people not doing things correctly is going to increase because there's unfortunately fewer staff at the Social Security offices. And those are the people that took reports of fraud, waste, and abuse and investigated them. But if there's nobody there to investigate, then I think fraud, waste, and abuse will unfortunately increase. So, yeah. Okay. Here's another one. This was famous by Doge, and the top ones here are Doge, new ones by Doge. They were very, very good at giving them misinformation. Number 4 is 40% of calls to Social Security are frauds. And this was given during an interview. Doge, Elon Musk, and had his Doge team up there, and one guy up there, the same guy, I think he's the same guy that put all of our information on an unsecured cloud. That guy. Yeah. He's not a mathematical wizard, because he said 40% of all calls into Social Security are fraudulent. No. The OIG, the Office of Inspector General, said of those people trying to change people's direct deposit that's not theirs, of those people, 40% of those people use the phone to try to do that. The other people go into offices or they use the internet or something like that. So 40% of a very, very small number try to change people's direct deposit by using the phone. The other, 99% of people calling Social Security are set up appointments and finding out what's their goal in their overpayment. When should I retire? Where's my check and stuff like that. So, but he took the 40% of a very small number. It came out to 0.02% or something. But he used that 40% to say, yeah, essentially half of the people calling Social Security are frauds. No, 100% incorrect. So yeah, not much of a mathematical wizard if you missed it. Anyway, number 3. The one big beautiful bill eliminates taxes on Social Security. And President has repeated this over and over and over. It is 100% incorrect. If you have to pay taxes on Social Security, you're still going to pay taxes on Social Security next year. About 40-50% of people don't pay taxes on Social Security anyway because they don't make enough money. But if you have other type of income coming in, taxable, other work or something that you're doing while collecting Social Security benefits, you're going to pay taxes. You're going to have to pay taxes, and get with your accountant to figure out how much you're going to do. One thing that has passed, it was a deduction. and said, if you're making $100,000, you can cut $6,000 off if you're single, $12,000 if you're married. That's it. That's it. It's just a little deduction, but you still have to pay taxes on Social Security. There's a lot of people out there that said, well, my president said I don't have to pay taxes on Social Security, so they're not going to file a tax return, and yeah, they're going to be in trouble. Number 2 of the top 10. Undocumented immigrants receive Social Security. Illegal immigrants receive Social Security. No, I've done several videos that explain that if you're not in this country legally, you cannot get Social Security retirement benefits, Social Security disability benefits, SSI, spouse benefits. You have to prove your legal residence in the United States. Period. End of story. Same thing with Medicaid. You cannot get benefits. Some states do provide undocumented immigrants with health care, but they use state funds, that whole states' rights thing. But federal Medicaid money, no. Before I worked at Social Security, I worked at the Department of Social Services. And for people to get food stamps and get Medicaid, they had to prove their legal status in the United States. Green card, birth certificate, whatever the case may be. And during the same time, Elon Musk and his compatriots kept talking about that. When they also said there are millions and millions of non-citizens receiving Social Security benefits and getting Social Security cards, and they're put at max benefits. And it's interesting, it's ironical that the two people on stage saying that, Elon Musk was a non-citizen who got Social Security when he came over to the United States he was a Canada at the time, originally from South Africa, moved to Canada, and then came to the United States. He was not a citizen. He got a Social Security card, and he was technically eligible for full benefits if he paid into it, if he worked 10 years and, all the rest of it. So non-citizens, yes, they do receive Social Security cards if they're in this country legally, and they are eligible for full benefits if they, for instance, if they work 10 years and pay into the system and then reach the age of 62 years old. So yeah, it's ironical that the people on stage, the other guy was from I think he was born in the United States, but his family was from Spain. And they just say, oh my gosh, all these millions of non-citizens. Yes, non-citizens, as long as they have a green card, they're in the country legally, they can get a Social Security card. So, all right, the number 1 for 2025 is the one that hit it out of the park, I guess, is the Otani of lies, of misinformation, was that there are millions. Everybody, my regular viewers, know exactly what the number 1's going to be. Millions of people over 100, 120, 200 years old that are receiving Social Security benefits. Okay. And Elon Musk and the administration kept repeating that. And there's still some people that come into my comments and say, well, if they stop giving money out to 200 years old. No. My regular viewers know what the situation is. Elon Musk was told by the Commissioner of Social Security right after he said that BS. The Commissioner of Social Security who was actually a Doge guy, said, yeah, you're not reading the database correctly. What you're looking at is the numident, and the numident is where people's name and their Social Security numbers and their date of birth and their parents' name and mother's maiden name. That's that database. And there are some of those we can't close out because we don't have the official death certificate, and Congress won't let us just arbitrarily close those out. But the money comes from this database over here called the Master Beneficiary Record. And that one, there's no money going to those people. In this one, yeah, it's not perfectly clean. We've asked money from Congress forever, said, hey, Congress, we'd really like to clean this up. Give us some resources to clean this up. And Congress says, no, we don't want to clean it up because we like beating y'all up about it every now and then. So Congress has refused to beat it. But one thing, Elon Musk, the Doge team, they are cleaning those up now, but it looks as though they're not doing it exactly the way it should be done. They're cutting corners. And unfortunately, we're hearing about people that are disappeared from the face of the earth who are still there. And their banks are closing down, and their mortgage companies are saying, yeah, we're sorry to hear about your husband or your father passing away. And it's like, no, he didn't pass away. Doge pushed the wrong button. And so we're seeing quite a bit of that, unfortunately. So, all right. So those are the top 10. We need to stop those because we need to get serious on saving Social Security to make sure our checks are not cut by 23% in 88 more checks. But the only way we're going to do that is to get these people to actually do something. But every time we talk to these people about Social Security, they give us one of those BS things. Oh, the money was stolen. I'm still looking for the money. As soon as we get those 200-year-old vampires off Social Security, everything will be perfect. And we believe it, and then we just go on with our day, and while the clock keeps ticking, unfortunately. Okay, let's get into some. If you disagree with any of those, if you've got another woozy that you want to add to the list, there's plenty. It was a hard time getting it down to 10, but all right, let's get into some live Q&A, and I also got some video questions that I want to answer as well. I'm 62 in December, filed for both early retirement and disability. Okay, perfect. So, actually, you probably filed for 3 different, but so this is called a rib dib, and this is a good idea for some people. What it is, a rib is retirement insurance benefits, and dib is disability insurance benefits. And 2 equals 1, and then 1 equals 3 is the title of this person here. So a smart idea. Depending on your particular situation. Why would you file for both? Because you're not going to get both. You're going to get one or the other. Because this is the same person that said the average is about 200 days or 2,000 days in California. So to get your disability approved, sometimes if you have a terrible, terrible disability, then, you could get your disability approved the same day or the next day within a week. That happens all the time. So hopefully your disability isn't that terrible and you have to wait because, anyway. So because you have to wait so long to start your disability benefits to get a decision, some people can't wait and they need money. So if they're 62 years old or eligible for any other benefits, they go ahead and file for those benefits and start that money coming in so they can pay their rent and mortgage and buy food and all the rest of it while they're waiting for their disability decision to be made. And then once your disability determination is made, if you're approved, then they do a calculation, determine whether when you started your benefits, are they going to start your disability before you started your retirement benefits? And so there's a calculation that they make there. But a lot of people, they do exactly that. They file for both so they at least get some money coming in. So, Paul, I just hit the like button. Thanks, Bella. We all enjoy the information we receive from Dr. Weir, each other. Let's hit the like button. And it's saying, thank you, Dr. Weir. Yes. And most important, I appreciate the thanks, but it teaches this algorithm of hate that all these social media places have that, hey, this is important information and we really need to get it out there as much as possible. All right. Let's see. Get some other questions. A Canadian who has worked in the U.S. on a work visa can apply for U.S. Social Security by applying online, by phone, or at a local office, and they may be able to use their Canadian work. Yes. So if they worked in the United States legally, they still have some type of status, dual citizenship, or they still have got their green card or whatever the case may be, they can absolutely apply. And what he's talking about is both. Is Social Security has different, they're called totalization agreements, where they have agreements with particular countries. There, it's like, hey, if you give us credit for ours, we'll give you credit for yours. And so, yeah, so some of them have that type of totalization agreement. So, Danny, history to meet U.S. eligibility requirements due to the totalization agreements between the, okay, yeah. So for totalization, you file at your local office, but your local office doesn't make the totalization decision. How it goes is you file in your local office. Was it a 2728 that form? The local office will take it, and I apologize if they hear it's a totalization that they hate it, because the system it's difficult for them to do. So sometimes they might give you a sour face, but it's not your issue. It's just the system. And then they take all the information and then they send it to the Office of International Operations back in Baltimore. And then this Office of International Operations talks to their Canadian component or their French component or their Japanese component or whatever, and then they work it out. So it takes a while, unfortunately. My cousin in California was just awarded. He waited about 300 days. Wow. Remember, so if he was awarded back pay, so that means, let's say he's been waiting for 2 years, and then they finally got him. So he applied, and he said he was disabled a year earlier, and then they gave him. It's been a year, so he's been waiting. He's been on disability technically for 2 years, even though his disability just started yesterday. They gave him all the back pay and stuff. Remember, a lot of people miss that, and the person's Medicare will start immediately. It's like, wait a second, I was just approved yesterday and I already got a Medicare card in the mail. Yeah, you were approved yesterday, but they backdated it for 2 years, 24 months. And then after being on Social Security disability for 24 months, then you automatically get Medicare, Part A, Part B. And they start taking the B out of, so if you have health insurance from work or anything like that, you can, refuse Part B. But if you want to keep it, then you just have to find a plan to cover all the gaps. And this is also the annual enrollment period. So if you want to check your Medicare Advantage plan to see if you can switch to a Medicare supplement plan or back to a Medicare Advantage plan or anything like that, make sure you reach out to our partners at Chapter. They support this live Q&A. Just make sure you're prepared with the 7 Ps, your providers and prescriptions and pharmacy and your priority. And check your prices there. Make sure you're saving as much money as you humanly possibly can. Pink Collar Sleuth. If I work part-time under full retirement age, are my 401 contributions exempt from the wages for tax purposes? No. Well, for tax purposes, I'm not an IRS guy, but for Social Security, I think you're talking about the annual earnings limit. This year, it's the $23,400. So let's say you make $5,000 a month, but 1,000 of that you put away in a 401k. And you're saying, are they going to count 5,000 or 4,000? They count the gross, 5,000. So whatever you do after you get that gross pay, that's up to you. Give it to 401ks. People say, well, it goes to alimony or child support or, whatever debt or something like that. Social Security essentially doesn't care. It's gross wages. So if you make over $23,400, then Social Security will hold back $1 for every $2 you go over. That's good cause. I'm signed up with regular Medicare. I'm sick of doctors opting out when their contract's up early in the next year. Okay, yeah. So you have, sounds like Keep Smiling has a Medicare Advantage plan, and you want to get out of essentially privatized Medicare and go back to original Medicare and get a Medicare supplement plan. Those are the ones I always recommend if it's in your budget. You have 2 options, a Medicare Advantage plan or a Medicare supplement plan. Anytime you talk to anybody, Chapter, whoever, they always give you information on both. If you're on Medicaid, then the information they give you on Medicare supplements is usually abbreviated because you can't get a Medicare supplement if you're on Medicaid. But Keep Smiling there. Yeah. That's one of the problems with Medicare Advantage plans is your Medicare Advantage plan is for 1 year, only 1 year, and it re-ups every year if you don't do anything. If you don't check, always check. But you're stuck in it for a year, but your doctors can bail anytime they want, and that's an issue that we see all the time with Medicare Advantage. People use the 7 Ps and they do the right thing and they call up Chapter or whoever. And hey, I just want to make sure my provider is covered by this plan. This plan covers my prescriptions and the pharmacy, and it has good, prices for the hospital and, MRIs and all that kind of stuff. But it does cover my doctors that I want to see. Perfect. Awesome. Let's go ahead and sign up for it. But then that doctor in January, February, March decides, I'm tired of this plan. I want to reduce my patients. I'm tired of the nickel and diming. I'm tired of the prior authorizations for this company. So the doctor can bail anytime they want. And unfortunately, you can't bail because you lost your doctor. Unfortunately, I think Chapter, they're trying to do something along those lines. Chapter, they're using their connections, their political power, I guess, to try to see if they can fix that, from what I heard through the grapevine. So yeah, we should definitely, if your number one primary doctor leaves a particular plan, I think you should be able to switch to another one. But we need to fix that. Let's see. Hello, Dr. Ed. Everyone chapters set me up with Advantage Plan 7 of my 8 medications are tier 1 and tier 2. That's good. One tier is $324 a month. Can I use GoodRx to cover my tier 3 jug without a penalty? Yes, absolutely. But remember, that's the money you spend outside like that through GoodRx or Mark Cuban's company there. That doesn't count towards your deductible for your Part D plan. So just remember that. But yeah, so just run the numbers and say, well, yeah, I'm going to save that much money, but if I spend it over here, it's going to count as my deductible, and you just have to make that calculation. So absolutely, absolutely. And because you're using Chapter, they have the member success team. Remember, this is the part of any time you sign up with a plan. Signing up with a plan, you know, it takes 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes or so to review your plan and make sure you're getting the right thing. But the most important thing is persistence with a Medicare Advantage plan, that is. With a Medicare supplement, it's easy. But with a Medicare Advantage plan, these companies, how they make, one of the way they make money is to save costs, you know, reduce costs by networks and, you know, all that. But prior authorizations and making it hard for you to get stuff done. So you just have to stay persistent to make sure you're getting everything you can out of your Medicare Advantage plan. And that's the reason, one of the major reasons me and my son partnered up with Chapter is because they have that member success team that is available to help you out 365 days of the year. So if you have an issue, get a weird bill from your company, reach out to them and they'll help you out. Let's see here. Get some other questions. Will my wife, who stayed at home while I worked, retain her spouse benefits she's getting now after I pass? Yes. Yeah. If you have a spouse receiving spouse benefits, she's receiving, if she'd never worked and she's her full retirement age when she started benefits on your record, she's receiving 50% of your full benefit amount. When you pass, we'll all pass one day, then her benefits will automatically convert, if she's her full retirement age or beyond, to surviving spouse benefits. And that'll be 100% if she's if she's her full retirement age or older. Then she'll get 100% of your benefit amount. And then she'll also get that lovely $255 lump sum death payment, which is, yeah, totally embarrassing. So that's one of the reasons we partnered with the DIG agency. If you want to see if you can leave a little bit extra to your loved ones when you pass, burial insurance, final expense, give them a call, and they'll see if one is right for you, how much, and all the rest of it. So you can reach out to them, and they support this channel as well. And all the new websites we're coming up with to help people all throughout the country. Ms. Davis, thank you for doing this. So much misinformation out there. Yeah. I'm so glad you were trying to help people understand the BS that was spread. Yeah, it's a battle. It's a battle. People still, yeah, the sky is blue. No, it's purple. Okay, all right. There's people, they don't want to believe. So not all SSI is welfare. It's paid for by your FICA, like retire early, being able to work. No, that is incorrect. Yeah, SSI is welfare, period. End of story. SSI is supplemental security income. A lot of people confuse it and they think SSI is Social Security income. No, technically it's supplemental security income. It is a welfare-based program and it does not come out of FICA taxes. It comes out of regular taxation, the regular budget. So SSI is welfare. You have to have limited resources, limited income, and the max you can receive from SSI for this year is $967. You either have to be disabled or 50 or 65 and older. It's called SSI aged. So SSI is 100% welfare, low income, low resource. So I made disability application 17 months ago, and my process is on 30. Process is on 30. Are you talking about it's like 30% done? Yeah. Sometimes you look in the system and you filed and it says, hey, 10% done, 20% done, or 2/3 done, or whatever the case may be. Number one, 17 months is way, way too long. If you're talking about an initial claim, if your disability application is actually an appeal with the administrative law judge, then okay, I can see 17 months. Well, I can't see it, but that's the reality. It shouldn't be that way. But an initial claim at 17 months, no. You need to contact someone. Contact your politician, whoever. 17 months is completely unacceptable. And a second point on those little graphs that you see about, okay, your case is 30% done or 40% done or 60% done. I applaud this has been around for a long time. I applaud Social Security many years ago for trying that. But yeah, it's kind of like when you're downloading something from the internet and it says 10% done, 20% done, and then all of a sudden it goes to 70% done. And then you sit on 70% for like 2 hours, and then it goes back to 50%, and then it's kind of like that. So yeah. Let's see. Peace only. Thank you, Dr. Ed, for all you do. You truly are a blessing to this community and beyond. Wow, thank you. And peace only. You are the key to the beyond part. So we've got our community here, but we need to reach out to more people and get more people help. And that's the reason, one of the main reasons we are doing our new website, which is still in super, super beta. We're testing, we're adding some new stuff this week to make it easier for people to get in there, but we need a lot of people to join it. It's 24help.org. And for people that need help and for people that can help. On all things Social Security, retirement benefits, disability benefits, CDRs, food stamps, Medicaid, electrical utilities help, legal help. So the structure is there. We just need human beings. So that's the key that we're going to be working over the next year. So if you want to be one of the original 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 founders, please join up. It's 100% free. So let's see. Absolutely enjoy your fact check, all the rumors and disinformation. This is the only channel that fully trusts for Social Security information. I appreciate it. Thank you. Alice, what is better, straight Medicare or the management? Does it matter? If you need more aid later, what is better? Okay, straight Medicare or your managed care, you're probably talking a Medicare Advantage plan. I prefer original Medicare with a Medicare supplement plan, either a Plan N or a Plan G, because you don't have prior authorizations, you don't have networks, whatever. If a doctor takes Medicare, he takes your Medicare supplement plan because he takes original Medicare. It's the same thing. But unfortunately, a majority of people, they either don't know about the prior authorizations because Medicare insurance agents make more money when they sign you up for Medicare Advantage plan. Companies, the health insurance companies, make more money in a Medicare Advantage plan. So sometimes they don't tell you that it's available. So people don't get a Medicare supplement when they should because they don't know. But a majority of people get it because the Medicare Advantage plans are zero premiums. And that's fine when you're young at 65 and healthy, and you're zero premium for 12 months, and then you're healthy for another year and another zero premium. So you've saved, because a Medicare supplement plan costs money. There's a monthly premium, and you have to get a Part D prescription drug plan as well. So it costs money. But the problem is if you get a Medicare Advantage, you might not be able to get a Medicare supplement later. So you're just like, well, I'll get a Medicare Advantage, save money for a few years, and then when I get sick, I'll get a Medicare supplement. Depending on your state, you're probably not going to be able to do that. So you're stuck. And a lot of people love their Medicare Advantage. A lot of people here love their Medicare Advantage plans until they don't. We'll see what happens in the future here. But yeah, we're going to make sure, again, it's the persistence. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be, really losing out on their Medicare Advantage plan predominantly because they don't do the persistence part. they've done the right thing by checking their Medicare Advantage plan every year. They've gotten the right plan every year to make sure, keep the same company, fine, but maybe switch to that same company's different plan that's even better, saves you more money, gives you more benefits. That's fine. That's what you should do an hour every year. But for the rest of the year, you just have to stay persistent. And if that company gives you a hard time on something you need and something you paid for, even though say, well, I didn't pay for it, it's zero premium. No, you paid for it. Where's my slide? There it is. When you sign up for a Medicare Advantage plan, every single month, per person, per member per month, your Medicare Advantage plan gets a check from the government. Where's that come from? It comes from you, of course. All those decades you paid into FICA taxes, the $185 you pay through general taxation, all that. So it eventually comes from us. And so an average enrollee, their Medicare Advantage plan gets $1,000 a month. So if you have a Medicare Advantage plan that you essentially paid $1,000 a month for this month, what have you got to show for it? Did you go get your colonoscopy? Did you get your mammogram? Get that. That's your money. You paid into it. So that's the persistence. And if they give you a hard time, they don't want to do it, they make you jump through all these kind of hoops, that's where you fight. And that's why it's good to have Chapter on your side. So, Silver Dust, apparently I worded this incorrect. Okay, perfect. Will my wife, who stayed at home during a marriage, retain her spouse benefit she's getting right now, plus my Social Security? Oh, okay. No, that is that's a terrible misunderstanding. And you're not the only one. When I worked at Social Security, taking surviving spouse, I hate that. I was always like, I hope they know this. I hope they know this. I hope they know this. Your spouse, your wife right now is receiving, let's say $1,000 a month, and you're receiving $2,000 a month. Okay. For instance. So the total household, $3,000 a month. If something happened to you next month, she's only going to get $2,000 total. She's not going to get she's going to lose $1,000. Why? Because she gets 100% of yours minus what she's currently receiving on her own, for instance. So yeah, you lose that difference. But in your case, because she never worked, she's just going to, it doesn't like it's going to affect her. If she is not entitled to benefits on her own record and she's receiving $1,000 on your record because she's receiving 50%, and then next month, if something happens, or next year, or 10 years from now, or 100 years from now, then she'll receive your full check. So the 100%, if she's her full retirement age at that time. So yeah, a lot of people miss that and they say, oh my gosh, I thought I got his check. Yes, you do get his or her check, the one that deceased, minus your own. So let's see. I love my dear PCP for sure. Yeah, your primary care physician. So yeah, make sure. And one of the things that people mess up when they do their Medicare Advantage plans is you really have to make sure the doctors you really, really want are in the plan that you're going to use, that you're going to choose for next year. And some people say, they ask their doctor, or they ask the person at the front, oh, do you take XYZ Medicare Advantage plan? And the person, oh yeah, we take that. Okay, that's a start. Then the next question is, okay, that XYZ Medicare Advantage company has 5, 6, 7 plans in our area. You know that, right? Okay, yeah, we know that. Okay, do you take this specific plan? And so, because sometimes doctors take a particular company, but they don't take all the plans that that particular company offers. And then, yeah, people get the shock in January when they go to the doctor and think they're all cool. And then they get a bill and it says, yeah, we're not in network for that particular company's plan. So you just have to be careful and do it right. Let's see. Miss Davis, question, I'm new. Thanks for doing this. Can you please explain about Chapter? You just mentioned they help you if you have questions. Yeah, so this is what we're doing here, me and my son. And when we first started this, we were just going to do Social Security. He does the back end type stuff, make sure all the tech works. And And we just wanted to help people with Social Security, retirement benefits, survivor benefits, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then Medicare Part A and Part B, because that's what I did when I worked at Social Security, all that. But then people were getting in misinformation about all the rest of it, Medicare Advantage, Medicare supplements, Part D plans and stuff, and they were getting wrong information from a whole bunch of Medicare insurance agents and companies out there. A lot of them are awesome, but some of them ain't so much. So people were getting some misinformation and getting the wrong things. So we said, we've got to find a place that is going to help people and do it right and find the right plan and make sure they help them throughout the year. Because there's a lot of places out there that'll sign you up and then they forget about you. Or they sign you up and they just don't have the expertise to help you fight prior authorizations and find a new doctor and help with billing and stuff like that. So we looked throughout the country, and as of right now, Chapter is knocking out of the park. They're doing a phenomenal job. We're going to have Ari here in a few days from Chapter answering your questions. But yeah, Chapter is 100% free service. All of these places that help you with help you sign up are free. They don't charge you anything. How do they get paid? When you give them all your 7 Ps there, and they look for the plan that's best for you in your particular area. And then they say, okay, this plan and this plan are the best ones. And this one gives you a little bit more dental. This one gives you a little bit more vision. Which one do you want? Everything else is the same. Do you want this or you want that? And you'll say, oh, okay, I'll take this one with the more dental. So, and then they sign you up with that one. And then that company, just like every other life insurance, auto insurance, that company pays Chapter a commission. And then Chapter throws us a few pennies to help out here. So it's 100% free to you. They help you find a plan. And most importantly, they're in your corner, and we here are in your corner for the rest of the year. Myself for the next 10, 20 years or so, I'm going to keep doing this. And people like Penelope here who knows everything about Social Security. So my concern about paying a concierge doctor is that I'd worry that one of 2 hypochondriacs would monopolize all his time. Yeah. Those concierge doctors are becoming popular where you pay, it's kind of like the, what was it? The big thing, rent an attorney type stuff where you paid like a monthly attorney fee or something, or attorney in advance. I haven't seen those advertised very often nowadays. But yeah, so it's like a, retained attorney, retained doctor. And, so it costs you money. Yeah. What do you think about the cap going up to 184,000? Yeah, not much. What they're talking about, let me pull it up here, is the new numbers for Social Security. Oh, do I have the new numbers? Trying to find it here. Okay, there we go. So this is what the Social Security Administration came out with. Obviously, they've got a 2.8% COLA. Woohoo! And right now, if you make $176,100 and below, you pay FICA Social Security tax at 6.2% on every dollar you make. If you make over $176,100, you stop paying FICA tax or Social Security FICA tax on all money after that. And that's the reason for the cuts. That's the major reason for the cuts that we're going to experience in the future, is that so much money is going to the top outside of that, and they're not paying FICA taxes on that money. And now for 2026, they just increase it like they do every year. Now it's $184,500, which doesn't make, there needs to be no cap. Just like Medicare, there is no cap on Medicare. Actually, people that are high wage earners actually pay 0.9% more for their Medicare after $200,000 or $250,000. And the world didn't end, They seem to be okay with it. They're paying it, unless they're, not paying taxes at all, which, anyway. So yeah, we just need to do the same. Fast Eddie, what's up? Well, you realize it's always the people that are getting it want more, and the people that have it don't want to give it up. Yeah. Or we don't want more. We want kind of what we paid into, right? We don't want to be cut 23%. All right, let's see if we can find some new people that I don't recognize here. TRICARE for Life is for retired military. Yeah, TRICARE. I've actually got a video question on someone that has a question about Champus and stuff. So let's go ahead and get us some video questions right now. I've got a few video questions.
Hi, my name is Patty. I'm from Boston. I need to find out what to expect. My identity got stolen, as well as all my banking information, and my Social Security check comes direct deposit. It's due next Monday. I have to go to the bank and, of course, close my checking account and reopen one. I'm wondering how this is going to affect my deposit coming up. Will I be able to get the information in as soon as I need to? Thank you so much for being here and being so open and honest with all of us folks who don't know what's going on. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay. So, yeah, this is one of the reasons why, I did a video a little while ago, about a week or two ago, about Doge, that one guy in Doge putting everybody's information up on an unsecured cloud. And we don't know what happened with that. We won't know for months whether it was accessed by, foreign, whatever, whoever. So this is a good opportunity. We should get rid of the Social Security number, let private banks and loan companies and mortgage companies and credit reporting agent. You should have never used a Social Security number, but you started using it. It's for Social Security, but you started here. You can keep it now, and then Social Security should come up with a brand new system, separate from credit type stuff, and that way it's safer for everybody. Okay, but that's neither here nor there. But in this particular case, what I would do is I would close if you have a concern that your bank account was stolen, somebody has access to it, I would close that thing immediately. And that way, when your check comes in from the Department of Treasury, it's not, rerouted to somebody else. It's bounced back to the Department of Treasury, and it's on your Elon Musk, listen, it's on your MBR. It's not on that database you were looking at. It's on your master beneficiary record as a credit. It's just sitting there until you provide a new direct deposit. So it'll kick it back, and then, immediately, same day or whatever, do all this as soon as possible. But the first thing you should do is make sure your old bank account is closed, so that money is not rerouted. It's kicked back. And then give Social Security your new direct deposit, and they'll deposit it. Depends on what time you call them, probably the next day. So that's the way I would do it. So pretty easy. It's a nightmare, I'm sure, with all the other stuff, but that part is relatively easy-ish.
Thank you. I have a question in regards to getting your back pay when you've already received your SSDI. And they're giving you kind of a runaround and asking for the same stuff over and over, and you cannot find anybody to talk to. And if you show up, you don't get the answers. And if you make an appointment, it's way far from now. So, got any ideas on that one? And by the way, thank you for your service. That I surely appreciate.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. And the reason, as I mentioned, the offices have been, hurting even before Elon Musk and Doge came in. Social Security was at a 50-year low. And this is because of politicians. Politicians refuse to support Social Security because they don't want it to succeed. Some do say they do, but the proof is in the pudding. They haven't. They haven't supported Social Security because now we know stuff like this happens. And it's even worse now because they fired another 7,000 or so. So it's now, I guess back to 1935 levels. And then the gray bars here are baby boomers. People are retiring. So yeah, more people, but less people to actually help. So politicians are ultimately responsible to provide resources for people to help you navigate the bureaucracy, so you don't have to sit there and listen to me drone on for an hour every day, which I'm more than happy to do. So you need to reach out to your politician and say, hey, this becomes a congressional. If you've tried everything else, you reach out to your politicians, one of your two federal senators, the House representative, your congressperson, and usually on their website, they have a little button you can click that says, I need help with a federal agency, or you can call them up directly and just tell them what your situation is. And that will turn the situation into what's called a congressional. And the Social Security offices are supposed to address those within 24, 48 hours. So hopefully that'll expedite everything.
Guess what? Got some good news for you.
Hey, Ed. This is Susan in Florida. And I don't know, it's kind of a ridiculous question, but I never did a login.gov or id.something. I can't read my own writing. I've just been using the Social Security website and for years, and logged in the way I logged in. Now I got to pick one of those two because I can't get in at all. And I'm hesitant. I've been hesitant to do it for the last couple of years. Thanks, Elon. And I just don't know if one's better than the other. I would like your advice. And are they safe? I mean, not that it makes any difference. I'm going to have to do it no matter what. But
yeah, those been around even before Elon and Doge and everything like that. So Social Security was turning to that more robust security system to protect your personal information. And unfortunately, in order to protect your information from Social Security, used to get people going into people's Social Security accounts, trying to get their accounts open from China and Russia and all over the world. So Social Security had to, respond. And unfortunately, it makes it more difficult for you, the actual person, to get in there. But that's just a barrier to make sure that is actually you and not some other, someone trying to pretend to be you. So it is a nightmare for you. But either one of those systems is fine. I did it myself, and yeah, you do a little on the one I did. I think I did the ID Me one, where I had to do an actual online kind of Zoom meeting or something with someone. I'd put my ID up to my forehead, and so they could check my ID and stuff like that. So yeah, it's either one of those is safe. But most important thing is make sure whichever one you use, click on the button through the official website, ssa.gov. So don't look on any other places to find the link to it. Just go to ssa.gov and click on the link there, and then it'll start you the process. And yes, the whole process is a nightmare, but it's a nightmare for a good reason.
Hi, this is Sierra Terry in Northern California, and I don't think that identifies me too much. Anyhow, I'm 75 years old. I am still working full-time and collecting Social Security. I recently, as of this past July, married a wonderful guy he thought he was on disability. Turns out it was SSI, which is the crux of the problem. He's great. He's got a congenital heart defect, and he's had 2 aortic valve replacement surgeries. So he's legitimately disabled. Unfortunately, he didn't pay into the system long enough. He was mainly a musician in his working years, and was in IT for 5 years. So he's getting $300-ish for Social Security, and he was getting $900 and change for what he thought was SSDI that turned out to be SSI. The local agent at the Social Security office before we got legally married told him that he would not lose any of his benefits when we got married because of the disability. However, he lost the entire $900 and is only getting $300 now since the marriage. because they said, I make too much money. Well, I don't want to work full time the rest of my life. I want to play music and have a life after working. Unfortunately, with the loss of that $900, that's not on the horizon. We're basically asking you, should we bother contesting it? Does this sound right to you? Should we get divorced? I don't know. So we appreciate you and thanks for your time. Hope this makes sense. Okay, thanks.
All right. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't sound right. Yes, unfortunately. The person at the Social Security office told you the wrong thing. If he's on SSI, which is the low income, low resources, welfare based program Social Security administers, he's beyond 65, so he's technically not on disability anymore. So the disability is not an issue. He is low income, low resources, aged. So he's 65 and older. So it's not disability related anymore. He's just on, it's called SSI aged. And yes, it is a welfare-based program, so they monitor income and resources. So when you got married, the person at the Social Security office should have said, yes, if you get married, then your income is going to count as household income. So that's unfortunate. But you're married now, so even though he is not insured for regular Social Security, retirement Social Security on his own record because he didn't pay enough, it sounds like, he is eligible for benefits on your record as a spouse. So I would definitely reach out. Sometimes it depends on the situation. With SSI, as you're already receiving, sometimes you have to wait a year, but because he was receiving SSI, there might be able to get him in sooner. That should qualify him sooner for the benefits as a spouse on your record. In terms of, so whatever you're receiving, he is past his full retirement age, so he'll receive half of what your full benefit amount is. Not how much you're receiving, but your full benefit amount at your full retirement age. It's called the PIA, primary insurance amount. So he'll receive half of that. And then in terms of the SSI, it probably doesn't look good because even if you get divorced, they look at that and it's called holding out. So even if you're not married, if you're holding out as a husband and wife and you just don't do the legal stuff because you don't want one's income to affect the other, SSI takes that into consideration and said, you're not married, but you're holding out as a husband and a wife. So therefore one income does affect the SSI benefits for the other. So that's one thing I would do but remember, you can always appeal everything. I don't know all the details of how much your income is and all that kind of stuff. And if you stop working, then your income, you don't have any income. So that might restart his SSI. But then again, he might get some more money because he's going to be receiving up to half of your benefit amount. So I would definitely check that out. Number one, I would make an appointment to Social Security and for him to call Social Security and make an appointment to file for spouse benefits and see when those benefits can start. All right, got a couple more here.
Hi, my name is Jeannie. I live in Wisconsin Rapids. I had a broker come here and he told me that because I have CHAMP VA, that I do not need to get a Medicare supplement, that CHAMP VA covers Medicare supplement. Currently, I've got Part C, and I wanted to go to supplement while I can. And I just a little worried about the VA, CHAMP VA, getting kicked out like other veterans benefits. And so I'm wondering if I should go ahead and get the supplement. Thank you.
Oh, that's a tough one. So if you're in CHAMP VA, so you have original Medicare Part A and Part B, and CHAMP VA, because dependent relation of a veteran, your CHAMP VA is kind of like a Medicare supplement, like a Plan N or a G or F or something like that. So, you don't need a Medicare supplement. You don't even technically need a Medicare Advantage plan. Some people get it. And, sometimes it causes a little bureaucratic paperwork and stuff, but some people get it, whatever. So normally I would say no. Don't waste your money. A Medicare supplement, your CHAMP VA is essentially your Medicare supplement plan. So why get another one that you have to pay a monthly, premium for $80, $100, $120? So normally I would say no. But you're worried about the future, that, they've already talking about, one time they were talking about 85,000 personnel cuts to the Veterans Administration throughout the country, and they kind of walked that back after everybody protested, rightly so. And now they're talking about 30 or 40, 50,000 personnel cuts throughout the country to cut VA benefits for people. And that's what you're worried about. I mean, you can, yeah. So you have to do it soon, because you're in a Medicare supplement, you're in a Medicare Advantage plan, the Part C, Medicare Part C. I hate calling it Part C because it sounds, by calling it Medicare Part C, like Medicare Advantage or Medicare A is hospital, Part B is the doctors, Part C is Medicare Advantage. It makes it sound like it's a part of original Medicare. It's not. Anyway, that's just a pet peeve. But you have to get out of your Medicare Advantage plan in order to get a Medicare supplement plan. You can't have both. And the only time you can get out of your Medicare Advantage plan is right now in the annual enrollment period from October 15th to December 7th. So call whoever your broker, if you know that person, and say, yeah, I understand, but I want one because of X, Y, and Z, and they'll help you get out of that. Or you can call Chapter and they can help you out as well. So whichever one you feel comfortable with.
Hi, Dr. Weir. My name is Claire Cortez. I am from New York. I retired to Florida. I collect Social Security. I've been collecting since age 62. I have a question regarding the amount that I receive. According to my records, my tax man years ago made a mistake on my taxes. And instead of putting the full amount that I received, he put, because he saw that it was double and it was on two different statements, one with there's like a number of some kind, like a 7 and a 4, and he wasn't doing his job right in looking at these numbers, and so he filed as if I was making half of what I made. I ended up paying over $7,000 in back taxes. I'm wondering, is there a way, based on the new tax filing, that I can show Social Security that I made double what that year was? Also, there are zeros in certain spots where I was actually working, so I don't know.
Absolutely. So if you file an amended tax return and paid that extra $7,000 or $10,000, $20,000 to the IRS, plus the FICA tax that was applied to that extra income, then you just take your amended tax returns down to Social Security, the official amended tax returns. If you don't have them, you have to go to the IRS and get the amended. Normally, the IRS will notify Social Security, but sometimes it gets lost or whatever the case may be. Normally, it doesn't, but if you have an amended one, then yeah, you just take that down to Social Security and they say, okay, this particular year it has that you were $20,000, and we see by the amended you actually earned $20,000 or $40,000. And that extra $20,000 you actually paid FICA tax. So, yep, okay, perfect. They'll put that in the system, and that will recalculate your benefits going all the way back, however long you've been receiving benefits, if that change happened before. In terms of the gaps, if you actually had wages or net income from business, that's one of the things sometimes people says, yeah, I worked, I made a whole bunch of money that year. But it was a business and I expensed everything. And so I actually didn't have any, I didn't pay FICA tax. And so that's usually how it works out. But if you have a gap year, where a gap year is where it says, 82, 83, 84, earnings, and then 85, 0, and then 86, earnings, that's a gap year. So if you have one of those and you know for sure that you actually paid, then sometimes, quite often, that is in what's called a suspense file, with all of the billions of dollars that undocumented immigrants pay into Social Security under false Social Security numbers and false whatever, and they pay into Social Security, but they never get that money back. So, thank you, undocumented immigrants, for, helping out the Social Security Trust Fund. But your earnings are probably in that suspense file as well, that it just probably might under the wrong Social Security number. Somebody transposed the numbers 1-2 instead of 2-1 on your Social Security number, and it's just sitting out there. So you just go there and say, hey, here's the deal. Here's where I worked. Here's about how much I made. And they'll look it up and see if it's in the suspense file. And if it's there, super, super easy to fix. Super easy to fix. Social Security employee, if you want to know how to fix it, just let me know. Just do a 2.8. And anyway, so still remember how to fix it.
Disabled daughter. She's got heart transplant. She was sick since childhood, but her condition worsened around 18. She had a heart transplant, probably around 19 in 2011.
Okay, the audio on this one isn't very good, so I listened to this. So she's got a daughter that was receiving childhood disability benefits who was disabled, and then the child's benefits stopped at age 18. So when you have a child receiving surviving spouse benefits, so it looks like she was just receiving just regular old surviving spouse benefits because she was under 18. And then when she reached 18, if she was not in high school, then her benefits stopped. Okay. It sounds like she was disabled. And if she was, then they should have done the disability thing and proved that she became disabled before the age of 22. And then if you're able to prove that, then those surviving child benefits continue forever. They're called disabled adult child benefits. If her benefits, she was receiving disability benefits under the age of 18, and then she reached 18, what they do is they do a continuing disability review. They evaluate the child's disability, but no longer on child criteria. They look at more adult because the child is now an adult at 18. So maybe the benefits stopped at that time and she didn't appeal. So they were denied. Says, oh, the Social Security said, okay, you were disabled as a child, but now as an adult with a different criteria, you're not disabled. And perhaps nobody appealed the process, which you always, always, always fight. And now her mother is going on benefits, or is already on benefits, and wants to know about the child, adult child. So yeah, I would, if the child became, your adult child became disabled before the age of 22, yes, I would tell her to go ahead and file for benefits under whichever account there's the most money. Under your record, if your benefit amount is higher, or if your her father's benefit amount is higher, whichever one is the highest, file. And remember, that's either a disabled adult child as a from your record, or a surviving disabled adult child from her deceased father's record. But on both of those, she will have to prove that she became disabled before the age of 22. So hopefully they still, because she was receiving disability, hopefully before 18, they still have some of those records. It depends on how far away we are there. It's going to take a little bit of a battle, but yeah, I would definitely fight for it if she's unable to work. So, all right, we are out of time. We've gone way over an hour. I'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll talk about another topic. And if you got any comments or anything like that, make sure you type them in the comments down below, and we'll see you all tomorrow, possibly. Please